President Bola Tinubu has requested a 4.5 trillion naira increase to this year's proposed national budget. This brings the appropriation bill to 54.2 trillion naira from 49.7 trillion as initially presented to the National Assembly in December last year. News Central's National Assembly correspondent Sagir Ibrahim brings us the details.
To the President of the Senate, President Tinubu explained that the adjustment was necessary due to the additional revenues generated by government agencies.
I am writing to inform you of the availability of additional revenue amounting to 4.5 trillion naira and to propose its allocation within the 2025 appropriation bill. This additional revenue sourced from key agencies represents a pivotal opportunity to address Nigeria's critical challenges and advance its development agenda. With this additional revenue, the 2025 appropriation bill's total budget size will increase from 49.7 trillion to 54.2 trillion naira, demonstrating our commitment to inclusive growth and security.
The proposed budget, which was presented on December the 18th, 2024, to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu totaled 49.7 trillion naira. However, in separate letters to both chambers of the National Assembly, President Tinubu proposed an increase of 4.5 trillion naira, bringing the total sum to 54.2 trillion naira. He attributed this adjustment to additional revenues generated by key government agencies in 2024, including 1.4 trillion naira from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, 1.2 trillion naira from the Nigerian Customs Service, and 1.8 trillion naira from other government-owned enterprises. The Senate President referred the matter to the Committee of Appropriations for urgent action, with expectation that the budget is passed before the end of February. Recall that on December 18, 2024, President Tinubu had presented the 49.7 trillion naira budget to the National Assembly, after which the Parliament commenced budget defense sessions between December and January 2025. The Senate also approved President Bola Tinubu's request to remove the resident electoral commissioners of Abia, Adamawa, and Sokoto states. In a letter read by the President of the Senate, President Tinubu urged lawmakers to invoke Section 157 of the 1999 Constitution to formally terminate their appointments.
Distinguished Senate President Godswill Akpabio GCON requests for votes to terminate the appointments of the suspended resident electoral commissioners of Adamawa, Sokoto, and Abia states. Pursuant to Section 157, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I hereby request the Senate to consider and vote for the termination of the appointments of suspended resident electoral commissioners of Adamawa, Sokoto, and Abia states. The Senate is invited to note that the 3 resident electoral commissioners have been suspended for misconduct since March 2022, before the advent of the current administration.
Following deliberations by lawmakers, the Senate approved their dismissal.
For more on this story, I'm now being joined by Professor Ken Ife, a global economic consultant. He joins me from Abuja. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And what do you make of the president's request to increase the budget and the reasons he gave?
Well, I think it's part of the momentous reaction to Donald Trump's actions. Scrapping
Donald Trump, sir?
From,
all the way.
Also trying to scrap the USAID and putting pressure on our health systems and all of that. We get about...
Let me get you clearly, sir. You're saying that President Bola Tinubu is requesting to increase the budget because of U.S. President Donald Trump's policies.
There was a trigger. And then I suspect that as a result of that trigger, we started to search for a response. And then, of course, the major collectors came forward and said that they are actually overshooting the budget. So that brought comfort. When FIRS says they are coming up with an over budget of 1.4 trillion, and then the customs says, oh, we can do more, 1.2, we can also do more in collecting from state-owned enterprises. another 1.8. So that means there is a possibility of exceeding the estimated budget revenue by 4.5 trillion. So there is a possibility now to respond to the crisis that is triggered by Trump. Obviously, you know that the USAID has a lot of commitment to us, about $8 billion in 10 years, just over 700 million. And then, of course, commitments will also come from the World Health that they are withdrawing. America is the major funder for World Health. 47% of the World Health Organization funded by America. Anyway, the other things, those are the key drivers to that soul searching.
Some people are asking if it makes financial sense to increase the budget while we borrow about 13.39 trillion naira to finance the initial one.
No, but if you have an unexpected rise in revenue, then you have to allocate it.
Yeah, does that not mean that we should add it to, we should then reduce the amount of money we are borrowing? That's what those people are asking.
Well, okay, but then what are you going to do about the gap in the hole? Because what has happened that we may have done our counterpart if that was necessary, and then you would have to find new money. So are you going to go and borrow more money and then...
Let me come back to the question. So we have 13.39 or more than 13 trillion naira in deficit. We're supposed to borrow that much to finance the initial, is it 49.2 now? The initial budget. Now that we are making more money, according to the president, he wants to increase the budget to over 50 trillion. Help me with the figures here. So the question is, since we are making more money, should we not then add it to, or subtract it from the money that we're borrowing? So instead of borrowing 13 trillion, perhaps we borrow like 9 trillion. Since we have more money now, we don't have to borrow. That's what those people are asking. Does it make financial sense?
It does make sense because there's an emergency situation that we are facing. You have to find that money. People that are involved are having HIV carriers. There are also many things that are health emergency. You have to find the money now.
Professor Ken, do we know where the budget, do we know where in the budget the new money will be allocated to? Do we know for sure?
This new money, if you leave this new money, is going to come as a new request, and it has to enter into the borrowing plan, and it has a process. So the best thing for you to do is just to load this on the budget and leave the borrowing that has already taken time. It takes finding time to prepare for the blend. It takes time to negotiate that and then put it in the borrowing plan, take it to the assembly to agree. But you're dealing with emergency. This is a crisis. So I don't suggest the idea you can't do what you are suggesting to me because you have a crisis. Where are you going to get, unless you're going to rush to IMF for an emergency loan for you to do that, and at what cost? So I don't think that argument you are putting forward matters when you have a state of emergency on our health service, including people that are on HIV and are treatment that must be provided for. People are withdrawing their money. So it's an emergency situation, and they have to be dealt with the way the president has approached it.
And is this likely to constitute a further delay to the passage of the 2025 appropriation bill, will it?
I don't think so, because they have a line of sight of where that money is going to go. So it's not just what you'll be thinking about. The assembly people will have to find their own constituency budget, so they're going to still find money. They're going to juggle with some of these parameters like the benchmark and oil crude productions to release more money, or even they will find money by juggling with those parameters to release money that they will allocate to their constituency budgets.
Right. So my question was actually if the bill would be passed, because everyone was expecting it to be passed this week. But now that there's an increase, they'll pass it to the Senate committee responsible for reviewing it, and maybe in another 2 weeks. But before I let you go, on Tuesday, the president signed yet another development commission into law. There are some concerns there are too many of them now, and that their mandate is being duplicated by other federal agencies. Do you share that concern, and is there money to fund them?
No, I don't think so. Now, we are now approaching optimal allocation of resources. we have how many? 36 governors and 35 governors and one FFC, and they're all pulling in different directions. The Regional Development Agency is very critical because it's a strategic agency. It tries to pull together all these states so that they can deal with interstate resources and projects, and there are some projects that fall between states, and there are some that require extraordinary attention at the magnitude of the sub-regional agency. So they have a great chance of doing something different. I'm a professor of the Defense Academy. I've gone around talking about regional security architecture of different regions to show that there is something special about the way regions are configured, that we should think regional in those areas. So it's very, very important institution. And then what confusion we are having about their funding is that the people misunderstood when it was a Senate. They misunderstood the idea of taking the money from their budget, that 15%.
Right.
So it wasn't a question of going to the 15% of the money that the governors have already got to take it. No, it is going to come from consolidated revenue fund before they even start distributing. So that has been cleared. So it's there to collect 15% from the consolidated revenue fund, and we need all the 6. Are already 5 far up and running, but the 6th one is not. It hasn't been, there's no budgetary provision for it in this current budget.
All right.
But at least 2.49 trillion has been allocated to them.
All right.
They are very, very...
Professor Ken Ife, thank you so much for your contributions. Valid point there about the Development Commission. Thank you for joining us tonight, Global Economic Consultant, Professor Ken Ife. Thank you. Welcome back. You're watching Tonight on News Central. I am Adeshawa Josh. A reminder of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu increases 2025 appropriation bill to 54.2 trillion naira, up from 49.7 trillion. Senate approves dismissal of 3 resident electoral commissioners for Sokoto, Adamawa, and Abia states. United Nations raises concerns over U.S. proposed pullout from the World Health Organization. At least 70 students have been confirmed dead following a fire outbreak at an Almajiri school in Kaura, Namoda local government area of Zamfara state. According to local reports, the fire outbreak began on Tuesday night and lasted into the early hours of Wednesday before being brought under control. It's unclear what started the fire, but some residents claim the building was raised when a bunch of local wooden sticks known as kara were torched. President Bola Tinubu is set to join other African leaders in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the African Union Heads of State Summit and the 46th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council, taking place on the 15th and 16th of this month. Before the summit, the president will stop over in Paris for a quick meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, his 6th official visit since he took office in 2023. According to his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu's visit to the African Union Summit is a key part of his commitment to strengthening regional cooperation in addressing pressing African issues. The Nigerian Senate has issued a stern warning to stop government agencies threatening arrest warrants and possible removal from office if they fail to appear before the Senate Public Accounts Committee. Chairman of the committee, Aliyu Wadada, expressed frustration over the agency's repeated ignored invitations to address audit queries raised by the Auditor General. Agencies named include the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, among others. There's some good news for Nigeria's energy landscape with the sealing of a groundbreaking partnership between the International Finance Corporation and 5 renewable energy companies. The collaboration, which aims to expand mini-grid projects across the country, is expected to provide electricity to at least 400,000 people. This initiative has far-reaching implications for Nigeria's economic growth, as access to reliable and sustainable energy is critical for powering businesses, industries, and communities. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned 11 Chinese nationals in a Lagos court on charges of cyber fraud and identity theft. This follows a similar arraignment of 42 Chinese and Filipino nationals last week. The EFCC alleges that the foreign nationals were caught in a sting operation in Lagos. The defendants have pleaded not guilty and have been remanded in custody. The development highlights Nigeria's growing efforts to tackle cybercrime and protect its national interests. A suspect linked to the devastating attack on Ishielu, Ebonyi State, has been apprehended by the police. According to police spokesperson, the suspect was caught while attempting to flee. The Ebonyi State Commissioner of Police, Antonia Uche-Anya, has deployed a tactical team to track down the perpetrators, and during a raid on their hideout, officers recovered several incriminating items, including 3 locally made guns, a police uniform, jungle boots, military camouflage. The police are urging anyone with relevant information to help in the ongoing investigations. At least 15 bodies have been recovered from the attack site, with several residents still missing. A cloud of uncertainty hangs over Bale Street in Ketu, Lagos State, as residents confront the looming threat of demolitions allegedly sanctioned by the community's traditional ruler. The ongoing destruction has already displaced some homeowners, while others remain vulnerable to theft and intrusion after their fences and security measures were torn down. News Central's Bola Festus brings us more.
3 days on, and these people are yet to know their fate following the sudden demolition of their houses. Everyone is keeping a watch over their property. The bulldozer arrived early this morning again to resume demolitions, but was greeted with protests. Those whose homes have already been demolished are now stranded and calling for help from the Lagos State government.
40 years. 40 years. Ó ti lé ní 40 years ó sanwó lẹ̀. Ó níwèé lẹ̀. Ìta lèmi àtọmọ mi sùn ọmọ òkú ọ̀hún. Ọkọ mi wà níbi tó sísí níbi bẹ̀ yẹn o. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ ṣàánú wa o. Ìta lèmi àtọmọ sùn pẹ̀lú drone tí mo wà. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ tó lọ́lẹ̀ ẹ ràn wá lọ́wọ́ o.
We want the government to intervene to this what is happening now, because this thing we haven't seen anything like such. All this place was in farm area before people came to this area. After they have made this place to be a fine place, we just see somebody who came on unknown time, said that he want to occupy this land.
Following News Central's wide coverage of the incident, the lawmaker representing Koshofe State Constituency 2, Femi Saheed, had come to see things for himself.
When issues like this happen, from what I've seen, I've not seen Lagos State Environmental Task Force. I've not seen any demolition notices served to these people. That was the question I asked them. If government want to demolish, government will have done due processes. But as the representative of the people, the onerous lies on us to find the facts. But from all available quarters, we are not aware of this demolition. And as I'm standing here now, I've not been given any notices.
Efforts to get the Onikosi side of the story remain unsuccessful. As directed by his prince, our team was at the Onikosi's palace to seek audience. He was unavailable and told us over the phone that he had gone to eat amala. After a long, fruitless wait, our team left the palace. In Lagos, I am Bola Festus for News Central.
The federal government has assured Nigerians of a more rewarding and prosperous future despite the current economic challenges facing the country. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, gave this assurance during a condolence visit to Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, where he commiserated with the Makinde family and the people of Oyo State. Wike also emphasized the need for unity, peaceful coexistence, and collective approach to nation building. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons says that it is set to repatriate about 100,000 Nigerian refugees and resettle more than 6 million internally displaced persons. This was made known in Abuja by the Federal Commissioner of the agency as respect to newsmen on Nigeria's ascension to chair the Rabat process, a Euro-Africa dialogue comprising 57 countries from 2025 to 2026.
That brings together countries around the world to help manage migration effectively. It focuses on promoting safe migration, preventing irregular migration, addressing the impact of migration on nations, and protecting vulnerable populations. The Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons believes that Nigeria has established itself as a leading voice on migration issues, marking a natural progression in its role on migration governance.
Nigeria's ascension to this role is a testament to the country's extensive efforts in migration governance. Nigerian priority areas as chair of the Rabat process 2025-2026 includes youth and innovation, facilitating pathways for regular migration, improving migration data management, promoting human rights and dignity, climate-induced mobility.
With Nigeria's new role, the nation is expected to lead by example. The Federal Commissioner says that Nigeria is already stepping up efforts to repatriate 100,000 Nigerian refugees and resettle more than 6 million internally displaced persons.
We still have about 53,000 refugees in Cameroon, and we have about 25,000 in Niger. And we also have not less than 15,000 refugees in Chad. We have not less than 136 camps spread across this country that IDPs are living in. Some of them living there for not less than 5 to 6 to 10 years, feeding 6.1 million people on a daily basis. Is it realistic? Is it possible? The answer is no. So what do? Is to ensure that we exit them from the camp. And in this case, the National Commission for Refugees has begun in the construction of resettlement cities meant to accommodate those IDPs and refugees who may want to live off the camp.
The Rabat process is a Euro-African dialogue on migration and development involving 57 partner countries, the EU, ECOWAS, and international organizations. As chair from 2025 to 2026, Nigeria will set the strategic direction of the process, ensuring that migration policies align with the priorities of both African and European nations.
Welcome back. As the Nigeria police begins enforcing third-party motor insurance across the country, stakeholders are asking the police to operate within the rule of law. This enforcement is part of a collaboration between the police and the National Insurance Commission to implement compulsory third-party motor insurance as mandated by the law. News Central's Ostinazu has more.
The Nigeria Police have commenced the enforcement of the third-party insurance policy nationwide. Police commissioners in several states, including Delta, are leaving no stone unturned in ensuring compliance with the directive from the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku. But how aware are motorists of this development?
They are talking about third-party insurance, but I'm not aware for it. I've not heard about that before. It's now I'm just hearing information.
I think they need to show more enlightenment about it. And I believe that if they show more enlightenment about it, everybody will surely get it.
Meanwhile, the Delta State Police Command, led by PPRO Bright Dafe, is on the ground at Miriam Babangida Way in Asaba, stopping vehicles and cross-checking insurance papers in line with the IGP's directive.
I advise Nigerians should go through their documents. If they find out that their third-party vehicle insurance certificate has expired, they should quickly go and renew before our men intercept them. When our men intercept them, their vehicles will be intercepted and also contravened pending when they appear before the mobile court.
However, a legal expert weighs in on the legality of the police enforcement, stressing the importance of respecting jurisdictional boundaries.
Other agencies that have responsibility to check vehicle particulars, like the Road Safety Commission and the VIO, should equally do their job. Police should not dabble into contractual relationship between vehicle owner and the third party. If they are checking documents, they should check if they must check documents, it should be in terms of authenticity and not in terms of whether it has expired or not, to start hounding people. Because the next thing you see now, they will start hounding people just like they did with tinted glasses. Start hounding people, locking people up and down, arresting people, and before you know, they start collecting a lot of money.
On the other hand, industry experts highlight the benefits of third-party insurance, emphasizing financial protection for motorists.
Basically, the third-party insurance, covers the insured against the third-party liabilities for third-party bodily injury and death.
The third-party insurance covers for damage on the vehicle of the person hit on the road. If we all have it as Nigerians, the issue of fighting on the road when you hit someone will be limited.
Third-party insurance protects against financial losses caused by an accident. It covers damage to other people's property or vehicles, as well as injuries to other people. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
The Borno State Agency for the Great Green Wall is partnering the Shehu of Borno State to promote tree planting across the state. The initiative aims to tackle desertification, deforestation, and climate change. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports.
The combined threat of deforestation and desert encroachment, which have been an issue in Nigeria's northern region, worsened in recent years due to the displacement and instability caused by insurgency in the northeast. To heal the land and secure a greener future for the people and animals, the Borno State Agency for the Great Green Wall is here at the instance of the Shehu of Borno, the traditional leader of the Kanem Borno Empire. The aim is said to strengthen ties with the traditional institution towards sensitizing and engaging the people for climate action.
Mitigating climate change is everyone's responsibility. Mitigating climate change, more especially in Borno State, without the blessing of His Royal Highness, the Eminence, Shehu of Borno, will not be completed. That is why we found it worthy that we should pay him a courtesy visit to seek for his guidance, prayers, and blessing for us to win the fight against climate change and desertification in Borno State. Not only Borno State, in the whole world.
The initiative, which aligns with Nigeria's national climate action goals, seeks to mitigate the effects of desertification.
All these local governments, they need it. The district head, they need it. The Blamas and Lawal, they need it. They will plant it in their houses, in their parks, as it will help a lot for us in so many respects. So, and I want you not to concentrate in one place.
Inshallah.
The Borno State Agency for the Great Green Wall revealed that thousands of trees will be planted across local government areas most affected by desertification.
We have so many strategies. One of them is massive afforestation. Two, providing substitute for fuel firewood or charcoal, what we call briquettes. And also we have to educate people.
While flagging off a statewide tree planting campaign, the Shehu of Borno called on the citizenry to actively participate in tree planting efforts, urging them to plant, nurture, and protect trees to ensure a greener and more resilient Borno State. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umuri Kirawa.
There are concerns that the escalation of violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo could worsen the humanitarian crisis in that country and potentially destabilize the region. This is as the M23 rebel group and Rwandan forces on Wednesday launched a fresh assault in the eastern part of the country, capturing a key mining town in South Kivu province and pushing towards the regional capital, Bukavu. This latest offensive comes just days after the M23 seized control of the strategic city of Goma in neighboring North Kivu, despite declaring a unilateral humanitarian ceasefire set to begin on Tuesday. The M23 has shown no signs of halting its military campaign, and the group's statement claiming it had no intention of taking control of Bukavu or other localities has proven to be short-lived. The United Nations agencies have raised concerns over the global consequences of deep cuts to humanitarian funding following major policy shifts by United States President Donald Trump. Trump has frozen nearly all foreign aid programs, withdrawn the U.S. from the World Health Organization, and dismantled the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. And that's a key player agency in global humanitarian funding. He has described USAID as a drain pipe of taxpayer funds. Trump accused the agency of corruption and defended the decision as necessary for fiscal reform. The move has been met with widespread criticism from humanitarian organizations and workers. And it's time for some business news with Perpetual from our business desk. Perpetual, I hear that the CBN is limiting BDCs to one dealer bank. What does that mean?
All right, first, this is for invisible transactions, and it's one of the many measures taken by the CBN to ensure transparency and also to be able to seamlessly track transactions within that segment of Nigeria's foreign exchange market. But Adeshawa, you get the details shortly.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has introduced new regulations allowing bureau de change operators to purchase up to $25,000 weekly from authorized dealer banks to meet retail forex needs. Transactions are capped at $5,000 each for specific purposes such as travel, tuition, and medical fees. Signed by Dr. W.J. Kanya, the directive mandates BDCs to source forex from a single dealer weekly and maintain transaction records, including bank verification numbers and endorsements in beneficiaries' international passports. These measures aim to enhance transparency, improve liquidity, and strengthen anti-money laundering efforts within Nigeria's foreign exchange market. In East Africa, Kenya's central bank cut its main interest rates to 10.75%, marking the fourth consecutive reduction to boost lending and economic growth. The cash reserve ratio was also lowered to 3.25%. The bank forecast 2025 GDP growth at 5.4%, supported by agriculture, credit recovery, and exports. Inflation is expected to stay within the target range, while the current account deficit is projected at 3.8% of GDP, slightly up from 2024's 3.7%. To stock markets now, the bulls maintained control of the domestic buzz with bargain hunting in FBN Holdings, GTCO, and Access Corporation pushing the all-share index past the 105,000 psychological mark, boosting year-to-date returns to 2.33%. And in terms of trading volume and value, Access Corporation led with 473.22 million units for volume and 12.57 billion naira in terms of value. Now let's take a look at the snapshot. We can see this, it has crossed the 65 trillion naira mark, and this has also crossed the 105,000 mark to 105,324.89, and it is a 51 basis point increase right there. Now let's take a look at the sectoral performance. For sectoral performance, beginning with the banking sector, if I can move a bit, maybe you'll be able to see this better. This is a 3.17%, and we saw renewed interest in banking stocks as gains in Access Corporation, FBN Holdings, and GTCO pushed the sector to this 3.17% gain. Now, taking a look at the insurance sector, for the insurance sector, it shared 0.67%. And of course, now going to the oil and gas sector, It inched up 31 basis points, driven by Itana's 996 basis points appreciation. That's what we're seeing for oil and gas. And also for consumer goods, we're seeing it down 44 basis points, and industrial goods is up 9 basis points. This gives us a picture of what happened in the markets today. And that's all on Business News Tonight. I am Perpetua Fasamipita. Tonight continues.
And it's time for some sports news with Tunde. Tunde, I hear there's some big news coming in for former Super Eagles defender Taiye Taiwo. What's that?
Well, also known as the Cannonball Kid, and also the man with the fiercest left foot shot, also known as Nigeria's Roberto Carlos back in the day. He's been honored in his former French club Olympique Marseille. All that and much more after the break.
Update brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Hello and welcome to sports. Former Super Eagles defender Taiye Taiwo has been inducted into the Olympique Marseille Club of Legends. Marseille was Taiwo's first European club after he joined Ligue 1 giants from the MPFL club Lobby Stars. He spent 6 years at the Stade Velodrome, making 271 appearances, scoring 25 goals and providing 23 assists. He won the French League, the French League Cup, and the French Super Cup before moving to AC Milan in 2011. He also had a stint in the English Premier League with Queen's Park Rangers. Taiwo earned 54 caps for the Super Eagles between 2004 and 2011, scoring 5 goals. Since retiring in 2019, he has lived in France, and his induction into Marseille's Club of Legends recognizes his significant impact on the club, joining notable names like Jean-Pierre Papin, Abedi Pelé, Marcel Desailly, Didier Deschamps, and Fabien Barthez. To some table tennis now. Nigeria's table tennis icon Arnaud Quadri has been eliminated, sadly, from the men's singles event of the ongoing WTT Singapore Smash 2025 after falling 3-1 in the second round to Brazil's Hugo Calderano. Now, Quadri won the first game 11-8, only to lose the next 3, 8-11, 9-11, and 6-11. The victory gives Calderano, who advances to the third round, a 3-1 lead in their last 4 encounters. Despite the loss, Arnaud said he remains optimistic for a great year and is looking forward to competing in the WTT Champions in China next month. But for now, his focus is on defending his title at the 2025 African Cup in Tunisia later this month. To nearby Ghana now, and the Ghana Football Association is yet to determine a new resumption date for the Ghana Premier League following the suspension of match week 20 fixtures. The decision to postpone the weekend's games comes after violent clashes during the match between Nsotraman and Ashanti Kotoko on Sunday, the 2nd of February, which led to a tragic fatality. Now, according to GFA Communications Director Henry Asante Toom, the association is taking time to engage with the relevant stakeholders and assess the full impact of the incident before deciding on the league's return. A final decision on the league's resumption will be made after meetings with the Inspector General of Police and other key stakeholders. Liverpool manager Arne Slot says right back Trent Alexander-Arnold will miss the second leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final against Tottenham Hotspur on Thursday. Alexander-Arnold was substituted after 70 minutes in the 2-0 Premier League win at Bournemouth on Saturday with what appeared to be a thigh injury. Now, Liverpool, who won the League Cup last season in Jurgen Klopp's final term in charge, will be aiming to overturn a 1-0 deficit against Spurs when they host the second leg at Anfield. The Reds are top of the Premier League and have qualified for the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League, but did not make any signings during the January transfer window. And finally, UEFA have imposed sanctions on AS Roma, Eintracht Frankfurt, and FC20 following fan disturbances during recent Europa League matches. Roma's 2-0 home victory over Frankfurt last month saw fireworks set off and clashes in the stands at half-times, but order was quickly restored. Now, Frankfurt were fined 20,000 euros for fireworks, crowd disturbances, and stadium damage, while Roma received a 30,000 euro fine and were ordered to partially close their stadium during their next UEFA home match. And FC20, who defeated Besiktas 1-0, but also fined 35,000 euros and stadium closure due to similar crowd issues. And that's all we have on sports. It's back to Adeshewa.
Sports Update brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Welcome back. Renowned Nigerian author and activist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is set to join a star-studded list of hosts for the prestigious Met Gala 2025. That's on entertainment news with Edewo, who is actually twinning with me today. You want to read the news, or you want to tell us the latest in entertainment? Please?
Well, okay, let's just jump right in.
Let's address that.
Let's address that. You know, I think we have that connection there.
I know, telepathy. You got the memo.
Yeah,
what do we have?
I got it. Now, speaking about Chimamanda, and what they say fashion is also a form of storytelling, right? Mm-hmm. And what better way to blend fashion and literature than getting someone who is a master at it? But definitely, I'll give you all the updates shortly.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
All right, now let's get right into it. As Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has been named a 2025 Met Gala host committee member, recognizing her impact on literature, culture, and identity. Now, this year's event, themed Tailored for You, will celebrate Black menswear's evolution alongside the exhibition Superfine Tailoring Black Style, which explores Black dandyism and fashion's role in shaping identity. Now, Adichie's inclusion marks a significant moment at the intersection of fashion and literature, and her Wear Nigeria initiative and collaborations with luxury fashion houses further cements her role in fashion as a form of storytelling. And now the 2025 Met Gala Committee includes, luminaries across entertainment, sports, and fashion. And the event takes place on May 5th with the exhibition as well. So yes, Adishawa.
To the team,
perfect. Perfect. If you look at it,
she totally embodies it. Love it.
Because she's also known for her style, because she's very stylish.
She's very stylish.
So we're hoping that her being on this will give us a bit of, they say it on the street, a bit of mouth to put there.
We already have mouth. If there's something Nigerians have, it's mouth.
It's mouth.
What more do we have?
Well, let's talk about Elton John. Now, Elton John and Brandy Kalile have announced their collaborative album, Who Believes in Angels, set for release on April 4th via Interscope Records. Now, the 10-track album was created in just 20 days. Now, pushing both artists out of their comfort zones. Now, Elton John describes this project as a fresh start in his career, while Kalile calls it a challenging yet inspiring experience. Now, the title track was released alongside a short film documenting the album's creation, making it the first time Elton John had allowed cameras into his studio sessions. Now, the good part of this is the fans who pre-order the album will get exclusive access to tickets. For tickets, there's an evening with Elton John and Kalile at the London's Palladium on March 26th. So if you get the album, you get to hang out as well. Well, that's basically it on entertainment today.
That sounds brilliant. Thank you so much.
All right.
And that's a wrap tonight. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, AVO TV, and YouTube. And guess what? We're coming soon to another platform you're going to love. Many thanks for watching.